Magic 87.6, morning, Andrew, on the radio, and Mathew Dickerson, hello.
Yeah, g'day. It's pretty exciting, Andrew. Only a few days to go and Santa's going to be dropping down your chimney and he's going to have heaps of technology presents, I'm sure.
Yeah, you've done lots of shopping, though, have you, Matt?
Yeah, about zero. I normally like to leave shopping
Yeah,
so it's fresh. Wait till right at the last minute so you don't miss some of those
yeah,
greatest things that come out at the last minute.
yeah, I'm about to do a Mercy Dash to a shopping centre. So let's get this over and done with because I have at least a 2 hour drive to go and buy some presents. So technology stuff, that's what you want to buy because everyone wants an acrylic periodic table of the elements, Matt.
Well, I'm sure you'd love to get me one, Andrew, but right here in front of me, I mean, you can't see it at the moment, but I've got it in front of the cameras here. I've got my periodic table of elements in acrylic with 85 of the actual elements in there. How cool is that? Obviously,
Of course you would.
there's 118 elements on the periodic table of the elements, which you'd remember from high school, of course. But some of
Yeah,
those elements they chose not to put in there. Uranium, plutonium, even gold they thought wouldn't be the best thing to put in there. The idea
really?
is that, they thought the radioactive elements mightn't be great. A bit of an acrylic covering might not be quite enough to contain the radiation there. So they've left out the radioactive elements. They've left out some of the more expensive ones like gold and some of the rare ones. But basically you've got 85 of the actual elements embedded in that acrylic. I'm looking at it now. It's just so cool. I love it. What a great concept. And this is the sort of stuff that people come up with, Andrew. There was no need for this particular present out there whatsoever. And someone sitting around, I don't know, late on a Saturday night, drinking with some friends, came up with the idea of a periodic table of the elements with the elements included. I'm sure they laughed about it for hours. The next thing you know, they've created a whole business out of it. So it's really cool.
There's one on your desk, you're staring at it for hours.
That's right. I go, is it really that element? I'm not sure if they've really done that. I've got to trust them on that. So, yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, right. What do one of those go for, Matt? It kind of have to be at least a couple of $100.
There's a couple of different models. You can get smaller ones and larger ones. I think they start at about $100 and go up to a couple of $100. Maybe
Yeah,
there's a
right.
special edition there that's got all the elements they could possibly put in there, excluding the radioactive ones. It's even dearer. But no, you $100 to $200 will get you one of those.
If they brought out the radioactive version, someone would sit there and pull it apart and go, so I wonder where my superhero powers come from.
Yeah, and I wonder where I could make a little bomb from. This little bit of this element here might be good enough to do that. They might be suspicious if someone orders 50,000 of those particular runs. So,
Yeah, right.
maybe a bit of
Yeah.
risk associated with that one.
Yeah, yeah. How do you put a warning on a pack that contains plutonium and uranium? Yeah, anyway.
Going through Australia Post.
Yeah, I know, right. Gifts that everyone should have is a robotic lawnmower. I definitely need one of these.
Yeah, and look, I'm guilty as charged with this one as well. I've got a robotic lawnmower. I think it's great. I think everyone should have one. Say goodbye to that weekend work of cutting the lawn. A robotic lawnmower, the toughest part about it, Andrew, is this where you get your friends around on a weekend. You have to lay the bit of wire around the edge, around the perimeter of the lawn. Once you've done that, obviously you do that once, it then knows where to stop as it's mowing the lawn and it mows everywhere inside the perimeter. It docks, recharges, maybe twice a week you schedule it to come out and automatically mow the lawn. Make sure the pets aren't laying around the lawn having a sleep because it might run over their tail while it's out there doing the lawn. No, they're pretty safe actually. They're very sensitive. If they bump into anything, they'll stop straight away and go. So they're fantastic. They can do areas, if you've just got a couple of 100 square metres or 30,000 square metres, they'll cover that area with the robotic lawn mowing. So pretty cool. I can't find anything to fault about them. I've had a couple over the last 10 years and I reckon they're absolutely brilliant.
I need to get me a couple of those. My lawnmower is starting to get a little bit old and worn out lately, and it's starting to not kind of cut as frequently as it used to.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic lawnmower, Matt. It's called the Melanie. She does a fantastic job. Um,
So I'm not going to make any comment on that. Just hope your wife doesn't listen to your segments.
no, she doesn't listen to anything I say. And but seriously, in our household, I have been barred for the lawn mowing duties, and you know what? I'm okay with that because apparently I don't do it properly and I miss spots. So maybe the robotic lawnmower. And then she looks at me like, you never cut the grass. I'm like, you never let me cut the grass.
So you've taken the standard husband tactic of doing a job so badly that you're excluded for that duty for life.
I'm sorry, grass cutting is my thing. I've been cutting grass since I was 7 years old because Lord knows my parents were into child labour. So, so I should know what I'm doing, but apparently I don't, and I've failed every single kind of. But yet I get, you never help me with that. I'm like, you never let me do anything, and then the argument just starts.
So the great thing about the robotic lawnmower is I used to always get accused in the old days of cutting the lawn too low because I wanted to cut it low because I wanted to leave it as long as possible until I could cut it the next time. But now with the robotic lawnmower, I'd say mine is scheduled to come out twice a week, so it's always cut at the perfect height.
There you go. Look at this. I got to get me one of those. I got to look into this stuff. So if you need a present of the technical variety, everyone needs an internet-connected clock.
Why not? Why not? Especially you on the radio. What a perfect thing for you to have. If you need to know the time, accurate to 200 milliseconds, plus or minus 200 milliseconds, then you need a clock that doesn't keep really accurate time because that still relies on you setting the time initially. You need a clock that gets its time from the internet. There's a number of time servers around the world. They use a protocol called Network Time Protocol. So they basically connect there to a server. They allow for the distance of that server from where you are and then adjust the time accordingly. Because if it's picking up the time from a few thousand kilometres away, it might lose a few milliseconds in the transmission of that time just over the distance it's got to go. So it allows for that. And it checks the time every 10 minutes. So the clock is actually not that accurate per se, but by checking the time every 10 minutes, it's updating the time all the time. So you've got clocks, multiple clocks you could have around your house, around your workplace, that are all keeping the time plus or minus 200 milliseconds. I just think it should be there for everyone. In fact, it should be compulsory for every device. Like the microwave, and it changes over to daylight saving. What a pain. It stays at the wrong time for months until you get around to changing the microwave. The ovens, the same sort of thing. Everything, every clock that comes out should be compulsory to be connected to the internet, so it's always accurate.
I don't know why there isn't a daylight savings button yet on a microwave that you can just push and it just adjusts daylight savings.
It makes sense.
Like seriously.
Yep.
Every other device adjusts to daylight savings. Freaking microwaves don't adjust. Like seriously, people, can we, if we're smart enough to invent the internet sync clock, can we just put a button on a microwave?
It makes sense. It makes sense. Absolutely.
It does.
Yep.
It does. It absolutely makes sense. Now, everyone's going to want a smart TV, but what about a smart TV frame? No way.
Yeah, they're cool. So you've got some frames, some digital frames that have been around for a little while now, but they're small, 8 inches, 10 inches. You can't see much in terms of a picture of the kids or your family on there. So more and more they're moving towards larger TV frames that are set up to look exactly like a picture frame. But it goes a step further. I can't quite afford a Van Gogh or a Picasso hanging on my wall, but I can afford a digital smart frame or a frame TV to hang on my wall that then uses all these famous artworks from around the world. You pay a small subscription fee each year, and you can be looking at a Van Gogh one day and a Picasso the next. I think it's just a great way to introduce a bit of culture into your life, but also when you normally hang a picture on the wall, whatever it might be, it stays there and it's the same for years and years, whereas these, you can change it every 5 minutes, every 5 weeks, every 6 months, whatever you like. You can have kids' pictures up there one day and have this beautiful artwork the next. So friends are coming around, you want to look like you're a bit posh, you just drop a famous artwork up there. And the next day you have pictures of your kids running around with no clothes on the beach. So you've got a whole range of bits of variety there.
Yeah, that didn't ever go down in our household, Matt, because I remember when digital picture frames were all the rage. And my wife begged me for one. This was like 2007. I bought one. So if anyone's looking for a digital picture frame, we have one brand new in the box from 2007. Never been used, but it's still in our cupboard. We've now moved it to 4 different houses.
So I want to know, what was the problem? Why didn't your wife jump all over it?
I have no way. Begged me for it. I swear to God, begged me for it. It got here, and then all of a sudden, it's never been used. I ask about it, and I get, I'll get to it one day. Yeah, you know what women are like with photos, man. They can never find a decent one. So and they all look shocking in it, and there's 1,000 excuses.
Yeah. Well, look, maybe this one's better because it's not photos of you and your wife on this. This will be photos of artworks.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That could be the go. That
Oh.
could be the go. We could look all society. This is something I reckon. This is a man. This is a man thing right now. A voice activated trash can. A man had to invent this.
Absolutely, because you've got the little lever that you can stand on the bottom of a garbage bin that'll pop the lid open, but sometimes they bend or they don't work properly. So now, what else could be better than walking up to your garbage bin and saying open can, and the lid pops open? But it gets better than that. When you take the liner out and you go and drop it in the bin outside, then you're always looking around for that other liner. This has got a little liner pocket and it dispenses liners. So when you come in and you want to get a new liner, out pops a new one, ready for you to put straight back in the bin. So what more could you possibly need on Christmas Day than an automated garbage bin to let you throw all your rubbish packing in?
Yeah, because ain't nobody got time for putting the foot down on the switch.
That's
Ain't
right.
nobody got time. But everyone got time for, hey, Rich, come over here and look at this. You're not going to believe this. Check out what the bin does, Rich.
So not only
See,
can you tell it to open the can, but you can also wave your hand over it. So when you're carrying that armful of stuff up to it, you can just wave your hand over it somehow while you're carrying all that stuff, and then the bin will open for you. Drop it all in.
Yeah, now we all know there's a selfie queen somewhere in a household or a family, and there is now an air selfie flying camera. No way.
So one of the big issues I've noticed during COVID has been that when you walk up to some strangers and say, here, can you just grab my phone and take a photo of me, please? They don't want to touch your phone because they're worried about you having COVID-19 and spreading the disease around, obviously. So it's a bit harder to do that. So the solution is, rather than getting strangers to trust you, is to have an air selfie flying camera. It's a small drone. It's got one job in life, and that's to take off, hover a few metres away from you, take a photo. It can be a wide or a normal angle shot, depending whether it's just you in the photo or a group of you, and then it comes back and lands. That's it. That's all it does. Short battery life, only small, good quality camera. Its whole job in life is to take off, take a photo of you, and land again.
That's it. And you know there'll be some people in families who wore it out in like 5 minutes because that's how many selfies they take.
Oh, damn, we're going to charge it up again now.
I know, right? My niece, seriously, would drain that thing in 2 minutes.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe there's something built in there. When the battery goes flat, it's time to take a break from selfies just for a few minutes while it charges up.
Yeah, no, she'd be going, why? She's 12, Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah.